When it comes to getting your next job, so do you think it's more important winning, or do you think stats are more important, or do you think the overall market in terms of the strength of the market is the most important? Because when you're talking about filling these different roles, there's always like that balancing act when it comes to overseas. You got to put up stats at the end of the day. As bad as it sounds, like you got to be a little selfish. You got to put up stats, but you also can't be on the worst team in the league and you're putting up stats, because then no agent really takes you serious and all those different things. So what do you think honestly helped you like get a better contract in the future? Was it the stats or the winning or the strength of the market?
It's such a nuanced question because it's a balance, like you said. Like, you can't take two L's. Like my buddy always says it. You can't take two L's. That means be on a bad team and not put up stats. You know, you can't take two L's. So I would say, like, if you're on one of the best teams and your stats are a little bit less than if you're on one of the worst teams and your stats are high, I think it's better to win. I think it's better to win because you have more credibility, especially in Europe. They'll give you more credibility, and the European coach that you have is almost always going to tell the next coach that's asking about you, hey, he could have put up some more stats, but this and this, a lot of that happens. Now, outside of Europe, I think stats is probably the most important, to be honest, because it's just a different style outside of Europe, in Africa, Middle East, like they're really just looking for like, can this guy create? Can this guy score threes? Can this guy put up numbers? That's just the truth, right? But in Europe, I think like winning is a little bit more important just because the coaches and management usually have your back on that kind of thing. Hey, he's a good guy. He played defense, he sacrificed a little bit for us, but he could have shot more, blah, blah, blah. That's something that happens in Europe. So I would say winning a little bit more important, but you can't take two L's. You can't be on a bad team and not have stats, because then you get washed out of professional ball.
Right. Yeah. That's really interesting, because a lot of people would think, oh, it's all about winning. That from an outsider's perspective, right? Because we've played for so many years, but from an outsider's perspective, a lot of people think that winning is like the key to everything. But like we're mentioning right now, if you're winning, but you're just like a role player, then what's to say, for instance, you win the domestic league and then you go on to a regional league or international competition. What's to say, I've seen this all the time, they replace that import because he just wasn't putting up enough in the domestic league, and then they go get another guy who has better stats, more proven, and then you're out of that job. And it's really like an interesting dynamic I've seen in overseas ball.
Super wild. That's why I said it's really nuanced, because it's super tough, man. Every single situation is different. Like, you really got to be self-aware in overseas basketball. You got to go there, figure out what's the best thing for you, what's the best for the team, and try to mesh those two as best you can. So it's really a place by place analyzation. And the guys that just don't get it, that aren't self-aware, and maybe they shoot too much and ruin the team's the wins, they get messed up. And if you're trying to play too small of a role and you end up not playing any role at all, but your team wins, you can get screwed too. So it's super nuanced, man. It's super nuanced. Every single year, every single player is different. Every single situation takes its own analyzation.
And how do you, I guess, establish like the expectations beforehand? Does your agent help you? Does your coach help you? Or how do you kind of know going in, okay, this is what they expect out of me?
Yeah, for sure. The coach and the club, right? I mean, I've never been anywhere where my role wasn't like really clear, and I'm a point guard, so mine's a little bit easier because like all the point guards mostly have a similar role. Like if you're playing in Spain, Leb Gold, and you have a great point guard with you, okay, play 20 minutes, play harder on defense, share the ball more. But if you see, I'm in Leb Plata and I'm the American point guard, and there's one, junior kid point guard that's 20 years old, okay, I'm going to play 35 minutes. Maybe you have to take some plays off on defense to rest, and you need to shoot and create a lot, right? I think like, man to man, I think people know that. I think if you're not self-aware enough to like figure out your role, then you just got to try to do better. And I think coaches and managers, of course, can confuse you a little bit. But I think if you sit down and really look at the team, really listen to the coach, the management, your agent can help too. I think most guys can find their role and really figure out what's needed from them.